Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Gulfstream Park here on Saturday. It is the 29th of March 2025. It's Florida Derby day from Gulfstream. I'm going to look at the Florida Derby and all the other stakes races on the program. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean around the world. Remember to go check out my Arkansas Derby preview from Oakland. Just in general, today's one of those great days of racing. The next few weekends are actually great days a week of racing. So just join me in general here on YouTube for some very good previews. But we're going to look at the stakes races on the program right from Gulfstream races 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Did you get that? That's quite a few races. So let's get into it right now. The third race from Gulfstream Park, it is the Cutler Bay Stakes. It's going for a $165,000 purse. Race for 3-year-olds here. Field of 9 horses going 1,500 meters or 7.5 furlongs on the Gulfstream Park turf course. The rails are down for this race, so it will be run on the inner portion of the turf course. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 4-horse Hit That Review. We're going to go 4-9-2-1 in the superfecta. 4921 Super, top selection 4-horse. Hit That Review. 3-year-old called by No Nay Never. Brendan Walsh trains this one. Manny Franco gets the mount. Horse hasn't been seen since New Year's Day here at Gulfstream. Mile 70 off the turf on the Tapeta and the Diana Beach Stakes, and he finished fifth by 4 3/4 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked all the way around the race course. He was a little bit wide, and he just never really got going. I just don't think it was the recipe for success at Tapeta. I think coming here today back to turf where he's really proven he could run good numbers, I think you can find a trip to win. The inner turf course here at Gulfstream plays towards kind of front running styles, which this horse has, and I think that's going to go a long way with him today. To get him first to the winner's circle today, he ran 2 back in the pulpit here on opening day, 7.5 furlongs, 29th of November, where he finished second by 5 lengths. Mibago, who's an next start winner in the Diana Beach, really was a go away winner, but this horse he kind of stalked. He had a decent turn of foot. He got beat by a decent horse on the day, but not a bad race in defeat that day. First start around 2 turns, and then a Keelan 5.5 in the maiden special weight back in October. Went by 3 lengths that day from a tracking trip. He was a little bit wide late, but he really came home clear. Took him 4 starts to break the main. But I thought it was a very quality race there. And then an Aqueduct in mid-September going 3/4 in the outer in the main special weight. Finished second by a neck, and again, wasn't it from nowhere? He just missed it late, but he ran his heart out. He's training well to this one. I like that he's coming off a little bit of bench. 4-1, let's use him. I think the 9-horse here, who is Ford Steel for Irad and Safi Joseph going also, was a winner 2 back in option 75 over this turf course over the mile. When 3/4 lengths on the front end, he really took off clear. Came back to run a month earlier this month in the Colonel Liam over the mile on this turf course, where he finished fourth by 5 lengths, where he just never really got going, just a little bit flat that day. I think coming back here, hopefully, Irad could send this horse. I think he does his better running style closer to the front end. If he could do that, if he could get to the front end, I think he could get away with it. 5-2. Let's use him in the pick 5 that begins with this race. Quite a few pick 5s and pick 6s and pick 4. Well, not pick 6s, but pick 4s and pick 5s. There's quite a few of them on the card. So just go to your program to see which races they're going to fall in, because like I said, there's quite a few of them. But to recap my selection for the third from goals from now. It's the Cutler Bay. Going to take the 4-horse Hit That Review. Give kudos to the 9-horse Ford Steel. 4-9-2-1 Super. 4-9 in the multi race. The co-featured turf race of the afternoon from Gulfstream, the 4th race. It is the Orchid Stakes. It's a great event going for a purse of $165,000. Race for fillies, mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. Field 7 horses in the Orchid going 2,400 meters or a mile and a half on the turf course. Top selection. I'm going to go with the 2-horse La Mahina. I'm going to go 2-3-6-1 in the superfecta. 2-3-6-1 Super. Top selection 2-horse La Mahina. 6-year-old mare by Al Wakar here. Christophe Clement trains. Ira Ortiz Jr. gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in the very one here at Gulfstream. Mile 3/8 on the 1st of March. And he finished third by 1.5 lengths that day. And he was with them early on. He had a bit of a wide trip. You need something more. But again, got down the race course well. It wasn't a bad race. I do think her better trip's over the mile and a half. She's going to get it again today. Lightning fast course. I think she can find a trip to win. 2 back in the La Proviante here at Gulfstream. Mile and a half on Pegasus Day. Third by neck in an all-out thing that she just missed late. She was a little bit wide, but she just ran as good as the winner. Not a bad race in defeat. And then the Via Borghese right after Christmas here at Gulfstream, mile 3 furlongs on the turf course, won by a neck from a tracking trip, a little bit wide, but she drove away clear. I thought that was a very good effort. Her races before that in New York, she won the Way quite nicely. Came back to run the Long Island in mid-November at Aqueduct, where she stunk up the place. She just absolutely had nothing. I don't know if she liked the handle of the ground. It was a firm ground, but it's the softer sided firm in November in New York on the turf. She just wasn't, showing up that day. But I think up to a lightning fast turf course. off some decent runs here locally as of recently. I think she's a very likely winner. I think the three horse Queen's Regent for Brendan Walsh. Originally, Tyler Gaffley was supposed to ride. Probably going to be, he's definitely going to be off this horse here. Wouldn't be surprised if Frankie Dettori gets on this one. I think this horse is your second likeliest winner. Ran most recently in the very one here a month ago, where she finished fourth by 1 3/4 lengths, where she's just a little bit flat that day. Again, she's just not been getting into the races her most recent outings. I think, if she could get into the race like she did at Kentucky Downs back in September where she won, I think she could win and go away with it. She saw a very good pace to close up into, which I thought she relished that day. All the races since then, she's just been getting some, very pedestrian fractions. If she gets slightly faster fractions, not like she got last time out 116 to 3/4, if she could get something like maybe 113, I think she could win off of that number. She is training well here. Like I said, I think she needs a little bit quicker pace. If she gets that quicker pace, wouldn't surprise me if she gets the job done. I'll use her in one of those many pick fours that begins with this race. But to recap my selection for the fourth now from Gulfstream, it is the Orchid. Going to take the two horse La Mahena. Give kudos to the three horse Queen Regent. 2-3-6-1 Super. 2-3 in the multi race. Heading over to race number 6 now from Gulfstream back to the lawn. It is the Pan American Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a purse of $215,000. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. 9 horses are going 2,400 meters or a mile and a half in the Pan American. Gonna go with the number 7 horse here. Capture the flag. 7-5-3-4 for me in the superfecta. 7-5-3-4 super. Top selection 7 horse. Capture the flag. 5-year-old horse by Quality Road. Top lecture trains. Ira Tees Jr. picks up the mount. They ran the horse most recently in the McDermott here at Gulfstream. Mile 3/8 in early March, where the horse went by head that day, and he sat on the front ends. I think he won me. I know he won going either 3/4 and 115 almost. When he got to the 3/4 on the front end, very soft fractions, he had enough left in the tank to get the job done. He grinded out to the wire. I thought that was a very good effort. This horse has proven he wants to go a longer trip. He's back at it again today. He's drawn very well to get the front running trip. I think he could get away with it here today. Two back, his first start of a longer trip here at Gulfstream, mile and a half to PETA in Op 6-2 back in February. He finished second by 1.5 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked that day. He had the lead, got caught in the lane, but he ran his heart out, not a bad race in the feed. And then at the end of December here at Gulfstream, mile 16th, Op 6-2, finished fifth by 2.25 lengths that day, and he had a very wide trip that day. Also didn't get out of the gate so clearly, and just had a little traffic that day, which cost him. But again, I've seen worse races from him. I think we're finally back to a longer trip. He's training well. 3-1. I'm going to give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 5 horse Tawny Port for Christoph and Dylan can win also. He hasn't won since the John's Call of 2023 at Saratoga. That came out of my 5 furlongs on the Mellon Turf course. Won by 3.25 lengths by track and trip. He came home clear. Since then, if you look at some of his races since then, he's just been the bridesmaid, not the bride. Not the bride. Came back to run a very good second in the Cape Pendleton in the fall of 23 after that. And then, he ran in the McDermott last year. Very good place. Finished third in this race last year, third in the Monmouth, third in the UN Stakes, and then a decent third in the Turf Cup. All those seconds and third also were by a head or a neck. So the rollout finish, he just couldn't get there. His most recent race, he just was a little bit flat. I think you saw a tired horse at the end of the campaign last year at Keeneland, but I think refreshing here. He's a horse that's proven that, he originally was on the Derby Trail quite a few seasons ago, but he's proven since coming to turf over a longer trip, that's where he wants to run. Come back at it again today for his 6-year-old debut. I'm going to give this horse Sean the ticket. I think the 5, I also think the 3 horse here, Cash Equity, can win also. Original Gaffleon was going to get on it. We're going to have a rider to be announced. But again, great place in the McDermott, in the McKnight Stakes here on Pegasus Day. Came back to a very good third in the McDermott a few weeks ago. He was drawn well. Back to the home base. I'll give him a shot here at 7-2. But to recap my selection for the 6 from Gulfstream now, it is the Pan American. Gonna take the 7 horse Capture the Flag. Give kudos to the 5 horse Tawny Port and the 3 horse Cash Equity. 7-5-3-4 Super. 7-5-3 in the multi race. Let's head over to the 7th race now. The 7th race from Gulfstream, it is the Ghostzapper Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a $165,000 purse, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 7 horses going 1,700 meters or a mile 16th on the main track. My top selection here in the Ghostzapper, I'm going to take the 4 horse White Avario. We're going to go 4-5-3-2 in the superfecta. 4-5-3-2 super. Top selection of 4 horse White Avario. 6-year-old horse by race day. Safi Joseph Jr. trains. Ira Ortiz Jr. gets them out. All the start seems like it might be the first time I'm actually picking him on top. I always pick against him, it seems. But in the spot he's triple digit buyers that could definitely want to get here against these horses here. Also, on the home base, he's a very likely winner in the spot. Most recently in the Pegasus World Cup, on the 8th here on 25th of January, he finally had a good poster on this race and he flew home clear, winning by 6 1/4 lengths. He sat back early, slowly drove his way into the race, and he went away with it. Second place finisher Lux was a Santa Anita handicap winner earlier in the month to win off very impressively. This horse with the 109 Buyer career best, or second career best Buyer, that was a very impressive run. Back here, coming back and trip, lesser quality horses. Again, very likely winner. Two back in the Mr. Prospector here at 40 cents to the dollar over the 7 furlongs in December. Finished second by 1 1/4 lengths that day. And again, he was not the best beginnings that day. He sat back early, moved a little bit late. Mufasa just had the jump on him, but he ran his heart out. Quite a few horses out of that race were next start winners, so just keep an eye on that one. And then up 6-2 here, over here, Gulfstream, 7 furlongs in November. First start since early June. He won by a baker's dozen that day, and again, not the best beginnings that day, and he was a little bit wide, but he flew home clear. It starts in the Dutcher barn. He won the Whitney quite impressively. Came back to win the Brewers Cup Classic at San Steve over the mile of the quarter, winning by a length from a track and trip. He really came home clear, and then he just ran clunkers. He ran a clunker in the Saudi Cup, where I just don't think he was 100% fit, and then he just never really showed up in the Met Mile at Saratoga over the Wilson Mile. But since coming back to the Joseph barn, he's really become a better horse. 1 to 9, very crap price, but he can win. He's a very likely winner. The 5 horse Power Squeeze facing the boys here today, I think is a very interesting horse. Won the Alabama and the Delaware Oaks quite nicely over the summer. The races in the fall, just ran a little bit disappointingly in the Cotillion, but had a very good place in the Rampart here. And then against the boys, just had a tough trip in that Pegasus World Cup. Refreshing here back to a mile 16th. In other words, I'll give her a small shot on the multi-race wager, depending on the price, maybe a small win wager on her, but I do think Guida Barrio is a very likely winner, but it's going to be exciting to win this one. I'm looking forward to it. But to recap my selection now for the 7th from Gulfstream, it's the Ghostzapper. Going to take the 4 horse Guida Barrio, give kudos to the 5 horse Power Squeeze. 4-5-3-2 Super, 4-5 in the multi-race. Heading over to race number 9 now from Gulfstream, which is the Gulfstream Park Oaks, formerly known as the Body Mist years ago. Grade 2 event going for a $250,000 purse race for 3-year-old fillies. 7 horses are going 1,700 meters or mile 16th here in the formerly known Body Mist, now known as the Gulfstream Park Oaks. My top selection, I'm going to go with the number. Oh, where are we? I'm going to go with the number 4 horse 5G. We're going to go 4-6-3-7 in the superfecta. 4-6-3-7 super. Top selection 4 horse 5G. This 3-year-old filly of the coma. George Weaver trains. Tire like Affleon, originally scheduled to ride. We will have a rider to be announced. Most recent outing for this horse came in Arkansas at Oaklawn. Mile 16th in the grade 3 Honeybee, and she finished second by a length. She would have won if she was drawn 12-13, 11-13. She was drawn 13-13. A very wide trip. She left to get good position out of the gate, which she did. Not the best beginnings either, but she just couldn't keep up late. She just kind of yielded off of it. I think refreshing here off of with a better run, being forwardly paced, I think she could find a trip to win. She ran 2 back in the cash run at here Gulfstream 1 mile on New Year's Day. She won by 9 that day. And from on the front end, she just kept going, picking up nicely off some decent numbers. 86 Buyer. That was a very impressive race for this horse there. And then the 10 pin at Gulfstream it's going to be at Aqueduct over the mile native turf course, finishing second by a half length. She had the lead. She got caught by Laura Lynn in the lane, but again, she ran her heart out. I think, since coming back to dirt, after the Tempin Stakes, she's just become a better horse. She's training quite nicely. She's drawn well here today. I think she could have the forward momentum to get to Louisville for the Oaks in a few weeks' time. I'm going to use her here. I think the 6 horse here, Cassiar for Shug and Dylan Davis can win also. One on debut going at Tampa, 6.5 in a main special weight, went by a head from a tracking trip. She really gamed it out to the wire, setting their heights high for coming here first time winners, first time stakes client horses. But she has a beautiful pedigree with a City of Light on the sire side with a 9 shaft on the dam side. I think this horse is right for this trip through and through. The inexperience, might be lacking here, but I'm going to give her a shot here, 5-1. I think she could get this horse ready to win here. But to recap my selection for the 9th now from Gulfstream, it's the Gulfstream Park Oaks. We're going to take the 4 horse 5G, give kudos to the 6 horse Cassiar, 4-6-3-7 super, 4-6 in the multi race. The 10th race now from Gulfstream. It is the Sanibel Island Stakes. It's going for a $165,000 purse race for 3-year-old fillies. Field of 11 horses entered. The 11 horses is an AE, so 10 will head 1,500 meters or 7.5 furlongs on the Gulfstream Park turf course. Top selection here in the Sanibel Island. I'm going to go with the 10 horse Classic Q. I'm going to go 10-6-3-5 in the superfecta, 10-6-3-5 super. Top selection 10 horse Classic Q. 3 will fill by Classic Empire. Mark Hassey trains. Joel Rosario gets the mount. Recent outing for him came a month ago here at Gulfstream, 1 mile in the Here Comes the Bride, and he finished fourth by a half a length that day. And he just kind of stalked that day, moved a little bit late, along with everybody else that's in that race. He just couldn't get there, but she ran her heart out. I think from my poster getting Joel up, who could, have this horse more forwardly pace early on. I think this horse could find the trip to the winner's circle. Joel's been really heating up lately, so just watch out for him here coming into the last week of the Gulfstream Park meeting. Two back, they ran the horse in January at Gulfstream, mile in a main special weight locally, winning by 4 1/4 lengths from a tracking trip. He really kicked home clear. That was a very good run with 76 Buyer. And then on debut right before Christmas, mile 16th locally in a main special weight. He finished fourth by 6 1/2 lengths that day, where he just kind of yielded. He just never was really into it. A little actually daisical, but he's definitely been improving every single race. Coming here, getting Joel up, I'm going to give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 6 horse Civetta for Brendan Walsh, Godolphin, and Irad Cohen also was a winner in the wait a while here, going 7.5 back in November. Winning by a neck that day from a tracking trip. He came home clear. Came back to run the Ginger Brew here in early January, where he finished third by a half length, where he just wouldn't keep up late. Had the lead, got caught in the lane. Nitrogen, who was an extra winner, really took off clear to get the job done. And then we're in here, and Here Comes the Bride locally a few weeks ago, where he just never was really comfortable that they come from the back. I hope they get this horse a little bit more forwardly paced, like they did in the wait a while, or even like some of the races up north. If they do that, this horse could find the winner's circle. He's training a lot better coming to this race than he was his most previous races, which I like. 92. Let's give this horse a shot in the pick five ticket that begins with this race. But to recap my selection now for the 10th from Gulfstream Park, it is the Sanibel Island. We're going to take the 10 horse Classic Q, give kudos to the 6 horse here, Civetta. Uh, Excuse me, give kudos to the 6 horse Civetta. We're going to go 10-6-3-5 super, 10-6 in the multi race. Let's head over to race number 11 now, the beginning of the pick four from Gulfstream. The 11th race from Gulfstream, it is the Army Mule Stakes. It's going for $165,000 purse. Races for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 10 horses going 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs in the Army Mule. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 5 horse, Gordian Nut. I'm going to go 5-4-8-3 in the superfecta. 5-4-8-3 super. Top selection 5 horse, Gordian Nut. This 5-year-old gentleman by social inclusion. Tom Fletcher trains. Ira Ortiz Jr. gets some out. The most recent outing for this horse came in the end of February here at Gulfstream, 6 furlongs in the Gulfstream Park Sprint, and he finished third by 5.5 lengths that day, and he just needed the race that day. He got a bit of a bumpy trip out of the gate. He just settled for the back of the pack, and he just plowed along. He never really quickened up. Like I said, I think he needed the race. I think he was second off the bench. A little tougher competition, but I think 7 furlongs is going to be his preferred trip. I think he's run race fast enough to that can get him here first to the winner's circle today. Two back in the park sprint at Park, 6.5 in mid-September. Finished ninth by 11 lengths that day. And it just was on the inside and just never quick enough. Sometimes the inside at Parks is not the ideal position. Wasn't for him that day. He just never really got going. And then prior to that, 7 furlongs in the jump start, winning by 1 1/4 lengths. He really took off clear. That day, the rail was a great spot at Parks for him because he was flying that day. But on Parks Derby Day or Pennsylvania Derby Day, it wasn't for him. Prior to that, I ran the Francis Dash at Laurel with the 6 in July, where he had a decent third place finish by 2 lengths, where he's closing up well behind Dean Delivers, who was an next start winner, who this horse has had kind of a nemesis against, getting beat by him 2 starts in a row. He actually lost to him prior to that in the Alpacas run at Delaware over the 6, where he finished third by 4.5 lengths off of a wide trip. Never really never getting going. But I think his hidden ability and races fast enough in the past that could win here. Training well, second off the bench to the Pletcher barn. I'm going to give him a shot on the ticket. The 4 horse Knightsbridge is also your second likeliest one for Bill. Mon and Joel Rosario. He had a very good place in his seasonal reappearance here over the 1 turn mile in mid-February, finishing second by half a length. He just dueled on the front end, kind of hit the wall late. I do think coming back to 7, they're going to really try for this to the winner's circle here today. Ran 2 back in the Perryville Keelan over the 7 back in October. He had a very good third place finish by length. Again, sat back early, closed up well late. He just missed, but he ran his heart out. And then Gulfstream Park here last year in the Florida Derby, the 1 turn mile, or on Florida Derby Day, and a 1 turn mile, mile 75, winning by 9 lengths, 10 cents to the dollar. He really took off clear. A very good race. And then broke the main as a 2-year-old at Churchill in the fall of 23 by 10.5 lengths, really again taking off clear. I think his hidden ability that could suit him well. He's trained well coming to this one. 9 to 5. I know it's a crap price. Beginning of the late pick four, we're going to use him. But to recap my selection for the 11th now from Gulfstream, it's the Army Mule. We're going to take the 5 horse Gordian Knot. Give kudos to the 4 horse Knightsbridge. 5-4-8-3 Super. 5-4 in the multi race. The 12th race now from Gulfstream. It is the Sand Spring Stakes. It's going for a $165,000 purse race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. Field of 13 horses entered. Only 12 could go. 1,700 meters or mile 16th here in the Sand Springs. My top selection, I'm going to go with the number 11 horse, who is 5 Towns. We're going to go 11-3-6-9 in the superfecta. 11-3-6-9 super. Top selection, 11 horse, 5 Towns. 5-year-old mare by Lord Canola here. Grand Motion trains. Jorge Ruiz gets them out. They ran the horse most recently at Aqueduct 1 mile in the Grade 3 Noble Damsel, where she finished second by head that day. She stalked all around the race course. Ocean Club just gamed it out to the wire, but this horse, she got around the race course decently. Not a bad race in the feed. Prior to this one, they took the horse to the Woodbine Turf course, a mile eighth on the E.P. Taylor in the Canadian Stakes. She finished third by 3.5 lengths that day, where she shot back early. She moved a little bit late. Again, neither the race that day, but not a bad race in the feed. And then a very boggy turf course at Pimlico, mile 16th in the Gallaret. She finished second by 7.25 lengths. Fluffy Socks walk that day. This horse just didn't like the turf course, but her race here last year on the Tapeta closing week wasn't bad at all. And then allowance race came back to win the Dahlia at Laurel on the turf course quite impressively, closing up from the back of the pack. Should like the lightning fast turf course. Grand Motion, okay numbers off the bench. 8-1. Let's give her a shot on this very wide open race. Actually, these final 2 turf races on the program are very wide open, so I think you can make some money with this one. I think the 3 horse here, Mina Arana for Joel and Jack Cinco, and also 15-1 hasn't been seen since the main special at Saratoga Mile on the inner turf, of course, late August, where she won by 1/4 lengths that day and had a stupidly wide trip. Didn't show any forwardly pace, but she showed a lot of pace in the final 2 furlongs, flying home. 81 by her North American debut. I thought that was a very good run. Refreshing here, the rails are out. It's going to be quite hard to find a very good wide trip to get away late. But I think Joel, who's the best finishing rider, could find this horse in the winner's circle first here today. She ran 2 back in the Muto Anina Stakes at Leopardstown a mile in May of last year. She finished third 3/4 of a length that day. And again, sitting back early, she moved a little bit late. She outran her 66-1 odds that day. Not a bad race in the feed. And then the main race at Dundalk of the Poly Track, the 1/3 mile, finishing third by 1/4 lengths that day. She was with them early on, but then just kind of yielded late. She just got beat by a better horse on the day. But I think he'll be here to the 4-year-old debut, training well locally. 15-1. We'll use her in the pick four. And I also think the 6 horse here, Breath Away for Dylan and Christoph Cohen also. Her races, last year in the Naira circuit weren't bad at all. She won a very nice allowance race at Aqueduct in June. Came back to, or placed in a very nice allowance race in June at Aqueduct. Came back to win a very nice allowance race, Saratoga over the mile in the inner, winning by neck, closing up from nowhere. Very good race. And then a great third in the Noble Damsel. Very good place in the Forever Together, where she just kind of got caught late. And then her races locally weren't bad at all. I thought in the Endeavor last time she just had a little bit too wide of a trip. I think coming here drawn well, she could find a trip. She won this race 2 seasons. She won the Sanibel Island 2 seasons ago on this fixture. I'm going to give her a shot here back to this turf course where she's had success. But to recap my selection for the 12th now from Gulfstream, it's the Sand Spring Stakes. Going to take the number 11 horse 5 Towns. Give kudos to the 3 horse Mina Arana and the 6 horse Breath Away. 11-3-6-9 Super. 11-3-6 in the multi race. Let's get to the 13th race now from Gulfstream. 13th race from Gulfstream. It is the Appleton Stakes. It's going for a purse of $165,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 11 horses going the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the mile trip here in the Appleton on the turf course. Top selection, I'm going to go with the number 6 horse, Abramar. I'm going to go 6-9-11-7 in the superfecta. 6-9-11-7 super. Top selection 6 horse Abramar. This 4-year-old colt by Diversadero. Safi Joseph Jr. trained this one for Kenneth Ramsey. Edgar Zayas gets him out. The horse's most recent outing came in the Nashville Derby at Kentucky Downs, mile 5/16 and 31st of August. And the horse finished third by 3 lengths that day, fourth by 3 lengths that day, where he just kind of stalked all the way around the race course. He had the lead. The winner just kind of overtaken late, but not an okay race. I think think coming here off the bench, Savio has decent numbers off the bench, drawn very well here today to the home base. I think this horse could find the winner's circle today. He ran two back in the preview Dueling Grounds Derby at Ellis, 1 mile in the eighth and third of August, and he finished second by 3 quarters in length. Again, he stalked, he had the lead, got overtaken late. The winner just had the jump on him, but he ran his heart out. I do think cutting back to a mile is going to really suit him well. Maybe just doesn't want to go a little bit longer than a mile, but coming here, I think that's just going to be the right trip for him. And again, in the tail of the cat at Monmouth, the mile 16th, he finished third by 3 lengths. And again, he closed up well. He just got up game by Carson's run that day, but he still needs something more there. And then the James W. Murphy at Pimlico on a boggy turf course over the mile, finishing third by 3 3/4 lengths that day. Not the best beginnings, and he just, never really got comfortable around the race course. But he loves his turf course. He won the Colonel Liam here last March quite impressively, won a very nice uphill 75 on this turf course, and broke his maiden here last December of 23 quite impressively. Coming here to start the four-year-old campaign, 4-1. I'm going to give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 9 horse here, Major Dude, another horse who likes running here for Todd and Irad, could find the winner's circle. He nearly won the Canadian Turf earlier in the month, where he just got caught by 4 Washington late. He was drifting, which cost him, but he had raced in the feed. Prior to in the Pegasus World Cup turf over the mile in the eighth here, he just had a bit of a trouble trip, the very narrow turf course. He just got, steadied a few times in the lane. It just wasn't his day, but he won the prep race quite nicely in the Fort Lauderdale, winning by a neck that day from a track and trip. He really came home clear. His races over the summer, won a very nice Keen Lounge race back in October, and then, won a very nice Saratoga Lounge race back in July. If he could run those races, he could definitely win. Refreshing here, I'm going to give him a shot at 7-5 on the ticket. And even the 11 horse I Chocolat from Mark Cassian Joel has been seen since winning the poker at Saratoga Belmont Stakes weekend, where he won by a length, dueling on the front, and he came home clear with a 96 career best buy, or 96 buyer best in quite a while. He likes running at this turf course, Saratoga. He actually had a 100 buyer in the 4-star Dave, consecrated in the summer of 23, where again, he just missed. Coming here today, back to Gulfstream, where he won, quite a few seasons ago. I'm going to give him a shot on this very wide open turf feature. Like I said, the previous race, the Sand Springs, and this one, you could probably go a few way in the pick four. So go a little lighter in the first leg of the pick four. These two turf races go a little bit deeper. We'll get to the thoughts on the Florida Derby, which is the next race. But to recap my selection for the 13th now from Gulfstream, it's the Appleton. We're going to take the 6 horse Avamar as top selection. Give kudos to the 9 horse Major Dude and the um, 11 horse here, I Chocolat, 6-9, 11-7 Super, 6-9, 11 in the multi race. The nightcap from Gulfstream, the 14th race. It is the Florida Derby, the Grade 1 Florida Derby. It's going for a purse of $1 million. Races for 3-year-olds here. Field of 10 horses taking a stroll around the Gulfstream Park main track, which is 1,800 meters in circumference, over the mile and the eighth here in the Florida Derby. Top selection, I'm going to go with the 4-horse Disruptor as a top selection. We're going to go 4, 10, 8, 6 in the superfecta. 4, 10, 8, 6 Super, top selection 4 is Disruptor, 3 are called by Gunrunner, Top Fletcher trains, Irad Tees Jr. gets the mounts. They ran the horse most recently in a main special weight here a month ago, 7 furlongs on the 1st of March, and he won by 9 1/4 lengths that day. Had a bit of a wide drift, and he was drifting late, but he stalked, he got the lead, he flew home clear. That was a very good run. Coming here, sprint route. Fletcher, decent numbers, 21%. I think he could find the winner's circle first here today. I think this horse is being up on the up and up, and I think this is going to be the right spot for him coming around 2 turns for the first time. They think highly of him. They only bought him for just over $1.1 million, nearly a quarter, $1.4 million purchase. So, watch out for him. He ran two back on debut at Gulfstream, 7 furlongs, 25th of January in a main special weight, where he finished third by 2 lengths. He sat on the front end that day. Jimmy's Daily caught him in the lane. We need the race for the experience, not a bad race in defeat. He set some good fraction on the front end. Since his last race, or between the debut and his last race, he was really working quite nicely, which I thought, proves for success last time out. Since the last race, they've been very impressive with some good workouts. Half mile 40 and 4, the 8th best workout, Palm Beach. Refreshing around 2 turns. I'm going to give him a shot here to give Pletcher another Florida Derby on his belt. I think you have to use a 10-horse sovereignty also for Belmont. And now Manny Franco, originally Junior was supposed to ride this horse, but unfortunately got injured last week here at Gulfstream. His horse won the Fountain of Youth here at Gulfstream earlier in the month, quite impressively, winning by a neck, closing up from nowhere. He was a little bit wide, but he came home clear, grinding it out, catching River Thames at the wire. That was a very good 95 mile run. Prior to that, he ran the Street Sense from Wide Trip at Churchill in the mile 16th, where he won by 5 lengths. And again, he sat back early, moved his way into this race, and he flew home clear. Very, very good run. The biggest problem with him here today is going to be, will he have the bigger the pace to run to like he had last time out? They were flying on the front end, I thought, in the Fountain of Youth. In this race, there is some speed on the front end, but will he, also from Wide Trip, can he get that turn of foot? He was drawn low last time out, where he was able to save some ground early on and then swing out wide late. Today, he's just going to be in the parking lot throughout. A good horse could overcome that. 8-5. I'll give him a shot here. I think he has serious ability. I think 8 horse Madaket Road for Bob for now Mike Smith, which I quite like on this one, could get the job then also. Let's go back and check Bob Effort's record shipping into Gulfstream. He doesn't ship a lot of them here. I know he had one here. Did he win Game Winner here a few years ago? Who was the horse he ran the Florida Derby? It had to be like 5, 6 years ago now. I have to go back to the to my books for that one. But this horse, I think another horse, he's bred by a Quality Road, who was a Florida Derby winner quite a few seasons ago now, 15, 16 years ago. But, he placed in the Rebel at Oakland over the mile 16th a few weeks ago, where he just couldn't keep up the late, the pace kind of melted down. Cole Battle really got the job done, closing up from nowhere. But this horse, he ran his heart out with some wicked fraction on the front end. It's not going to be as wicked, I think, today, and I don't think he's probably going to get the lead. I think he's going to get a good tracking trip and then slowly move his way into the race. Prior to that, he ran the Bob Lewis Santini over the mile, where he finished third by 6 lengths that day, again, where he just never really got into it. Got beat by Citizens Bull and Rodriguez, the stable mates, who just really, had the jump on him. But, we need the race for the experience. And then opening day at Santini, 6 furlongs in the main special weight. He won it by a half length. First time facing main, and she really came home clear. Maybe they actually ran him in the Bob Hope at Del Mar over the 7 furlongs. Ran a decent place that day. He was a little bit wide, but he got down the race course well. Back around 2 turns, not getting blinkers on. I think he could find a trip to win. And also watch out here for the 6 horse Jimmy's Daily for Brian Lynch and Joel. He had a very good place in an option 75 over the mile 8th back in late February here, and he won a very nice main special over the 7, actually beating Disruptor home. I think refreshing here, back around 2 turns, run very well. 12-1, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets the job done here. Sometimes in years past, the Florida Derby looks like it's between 1 or 2 horses at the most. This year, I think you go quite a few ways in this Florida Derby. It's a very good betting race, so can't wait for this one. It's going to be one of the best races of the weekend, and probably the best race I think of the meeting from Gulfstream. So watch out for this one. But to recap my selection now for the 14th from Gulfstream, it's the Grade $1 billion Florida Derby. We're going to take as a top selection the 4 horse Disruptor. Give kudos to the 10 horse Sovereignty, the 8 horse Madaket Road, and the 6 horse Jimmy's Daily. We're going to go 4, 10, 8, 6 Super. We're going to use all 4 of them to end off this pick 4 here. So with that being said, good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 and join me for my Arkansas Derby preview. Good luck, everybody.